What is going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel, and today I wanted to do something fun. I want to talk about characters I would like to see get added into My Hero Academia The Strongest Hero. On the channel I have made a wish list and a prediction list for My Hero 1 Justice 2, and those types of videos are really fun, but we're talking about My Hero Academia The Strongest Hero, which is a little more difficult because it's a gacha game. And what I mean is, with gacha games, they release characters more rapidly compared to like other games, and they may release characters through like summons and like battle passes, and it's My Hero Academia, so the cast is huge, so they can literally pull like any character they want from that cast. So I had to set some limitations for myself, otherwise I'd be here for hours talking about characters I would like to see get added into this game, because again, the kind of like cast is so large, and you know, knowing how they release characters super quickly, eventually they might just add everyone if the game goes on for years, you know, so I had to set some limitations. So the first limit is I can only choose characters from the support card list. Support cards are really cool. They help increase your heroes and villain stats. Each hero and villain has their own set of support cards, but they have other support cards that reference other characters, and that's the main idea. I'm only choosing characters that are like referenced in the support cards that are not already a character, and I think that'll be pretty cool because, well, one, we know the developers know about these characters because they made support cards around them, but two, it really helps me limit my options because, you know, there are only so many characters that are support cards, so I think that'll be good for limiting my options. But it'll be pretty fun though, because I can only choose from those characters, so I only have like a handful to pick from. The second limitation I'm setting for myself is I'm gonna pick one character from each group. Now, let me explain. So each character can kind of be put into like a group. For example, the Class 1A students can be put into the Class 1A group, the Class 1B characters can be put into the Class 1B group, and so on and so on. So I've developed 5 different groups that I will be picking one character from each group. So the groups are the Class 1A students, the Class 1B students, the other student group, you know, characters that are students but they're not in Class 1A or 1B, the Pro Heroes, and the Villains group. So I can only choose one character from each group. So for example, for the Class 1A group, sorry I'm about to spoil a little bit of this video, but I'm going to choose Sero. And because I chose Sero from the Class 1A group, I can't pick any other Class 1A student for the rest of the list. So that's how it's going to work, because the reason why I'm doing this is because, well, A, it helps me limit my options, but B, it helps me add more variety to my list because, for those who don't know, I love Class 1A. They're like my favorite characters. I really enjoy the characters a lot. And because of that, I feel like if I didn't add this kind of like limitation, there wouldn't be much variety to my list. So I feel like adding this limitation for myself as well will give me, you know, more variety in the characters. So yeah, that is the second limitation and the final one, so let's get into it. So ripping the band-aid off, I'm going to start off with the Class 1A student, and I've already spoiled it, but I would like to see Sero. Now, for those who don't know, Sero is my favorite character, and that's one main reason why I would like to see him in the game, but also because I think the character would be pretty good for PvE. The way they could design him is maybe a speed character or a technical character. I'm more leaning onto the side of speed. Actually, for those who don't know, My Hero Academia The Strongest Hero, the way they design their characters is when a character gets released, they usually fall into one of the 3 groups. Either a power character, a technical character, or a speed character. And I feel like Sero would either fall in the technical or speed character kind of like category, but I'm leaning more on the side of speed because of the mobility he can get with his tape, but also I believe his support card increases speed as well, if I'm not mistaken, so that's why I feel like he'd be a speed character. The reason why I think he'd be pretty good for PvE is because if you think about it, the way Sero uses his tape is he can be a really good ally character if you're like, let's say, grinding for gear. When you're running through the dungeons with your teammates, it would be pretty good to have Sero because he could set up traps to, like, you know, wrap up the opponent in tape, but like he doesn't have to be there. Like, let's say maybe one of his abilities allows him to like shoot a strand of tape out, and if the enemy touches that whatsoever, they get like trapped in tape, and that'd be pretty good for your teammates to start doing like a lot of damage, kind of holding the enemies in place. And I feel like he might be able to set up multiple traps. I also believe he might have like an ability where he shoots 3 strands of tape out in front of him and kind of like pull in the enemy, which would be also good to do like a lot of damage and kind of like group the enemies up. So overall, I feel like he'd be a really good character to have on a team, but also he'd just be good by himself as well because he can kind of like group the enemies together and do like a lot of damage. And I feel like he'd be a pretty good character as well because with one of his abilities, maybe he can like do like his tape swing, like how Uraraka floats, but instead of like, you know, dropping rocks and stuff, maybe he could just swing through the air, and if you press the attack button, maybe he can drop to the ground and kick the opponent with all that speed as he's dropping. I think that'd be pretty good because you can create space between you and the enemy, but also it could do like some damage as well, but it's not as annoying as Uraraka's, you know? Or maybe if he's fighting someone who can fly like Hawks and Uraraka, maybe he can like kick them back to the ground, which would be a counter for those types of characters as well. Overall, I think he'd be a pretty good character for PvE, maybe with PvP, depending on how you play him, but I would like to see him. He has a model in the game already, and I believe because he's a Class 1A student, if they were to release him, he'd be a Battle Pass character, which means he would start at like an A rank kind of like tier, but with Battle Passes, you can usually get the character up to S or double S pretty easily, and he would honestly get added into the Class 1A rally banner so you can summon for him, but I think he'd be pretty good. Again, with mobility, trapping the enemy, kind of pulling them in and grouping them up, I think he'd be pretty good. And just a good ally to have when you're, you know, doing PvE, like fighting dungeons and stuff with like teammates. And overall, I think he'd be a pretty cool character. So that is why I chose Zero. Alright, moving on to the Class 1B student, I'm going to choose Kendo. Kendo, I think, would be a pretty cool character. I feel like she would fall in either the power or speed category. I'm kind of leaning towards maybe speed, but I can also see her being a power character. The reason why I think she might be a speed character is because maybe she can throw out a lot of fast, kind of like rapid jabs, but also kind of finish off with like one big, you know, large fist, kind of like a huge punch maybe, but I feel like she can go either way. I think Kendo would be pretty good for PvP because she'd be one of those characters that can do like a lot of damage, but like really quickly. And I think because of how like fast she can be, like it'd be a really good like character to use for PvP because she can get in, do damage, and then get out really quickly. But also like the punches will like pack like a punch because of like the way her quirk works. So I think that'd be pretty cool. What else? I think the way they might release her is through a battle pass, but we haven't seen a Class 1B battle pass yet. They don't even have like a summon kind of like banner, or actually none of the Class 1B students are characters yet. So I wonder how they're going to do that, but I feel like maybe when Class 1A gets fully added, they might go to like a Class 1B battle pass and then eventually make like a Class 1B rally banner so you can summon for them on that banner, or maybe they just might add them to the Class 1A rally banner. But I feel like she would be like an A tier character starting off that you can eventually get to like S, double S, triple S, stuff like that. But I feel like she would be a battle pass character. And overall, if she is a battle pass character, she'd be a really good free to play unit for people who need like a good damage dealing character like Kendo. Like for those who missed out on like characters like All Might and stuff like that, I feel like she'd be a good option for those people. And that's why, again, I'm feeling like she might be a power character, but I can totally see her being a speed character, you know, dealing like a lot of fast rapid jabs, getting in and out. But overall, I think she'd be a pretty cool addition, and that is why I chose Kendo for the Class 1B rep. Moving on to the other student category, this category is designed to choose a character that is not from Class 1A or 1B, so the other student I would choose is Mirio. I feel like Mirio would be a pretty good character to see because he'd be good in PvP and PvE. Like, the ability to permeate through objects and like attacks and stuff would be really good for like one-on-one fights in PvP, but also in PvE when you're fighting like a ton of enemies. So I feel like he'd be pretty good to like stall out enemy attacks and then get to like go in and do some damage on his own. I definitely think he'd be a power character, but I can also see him maybe being a technical character because, you know, he has to permeate through objects. But I can totally see him maybe being a power character because of like the damage he would deal out. I can totally see like a lot of things they can do with him. I think one effective thing they can do is with his PvE skills. You know, if he like permeates and like the enemies attack him, he only permeates for like a couple of seconds, but like that lets him create like an opening and lets him stall out certain bosses' attacks. Like when you're fighting like the sludge villain and the guy who can like control water and stuff, they go into like these phases where like they go into like a tornado or shoot out tornadoes, and you can't damage them during that time or it's very hard. So I feel like Mirio would be a perfect counter to that because he can like wait out their attacks and then once they're like done, he can go in and do some damage. And because if he becomes a power character, he would deal out like a good amount of damage. And again, in PvP, it'd be pretty good for 1v1s, but I feel like it wouldn't be broken because it only lasts for a couple of seconds, and it'll probably have like a long cooldown, so you can't just spam it. But like, I feel like he'd be pretty good because, you know, once you wait out the opponent's attacks, you get to deal out like a lot of damage, but you have to wait for it to come back, so he can't just keep permeating. So it's kind of like a really big kind of like strike once he does his permeation, but then you can attack him while he's waiting for his permeation to come back. So I don't think it'd be unbalanced. Just, it kind of depends on the way they design the character, but overall I think he'd be pretty cool. Definitely probably gonna be an S tier character, so he might get released through like a banner. And yeah, other abilities, maybe he can like permeate through the floor and jump up and like do some damage, which would be pretty good to like close some distance, kind of like how he does it in My Hero 1 Justice 2. And overall, I think he'd be pretty cool, and that's why I chose Mirio. Moving on to the pro hero, I have the character Snipe chosen. I think Snipe would be pretty cool. I don't see a lot of people talking about Snipe, but like, think about it. He would be a really good character because he would do distance attacks that would do like a lot of damage, or like a lot of critical damage. I feel like he'd be a character that would shoot projectiles that would cause like a lot of crits / penetration damage and stuff, and I think that'd be pretty good for like a projectile based character like Snipe. Definitely going to be a technical character if they do add him. He does have a model in the game, and he has 2 support cards. He has an active one and a support card, a passive support card, and I think you can really make the character interesting because, again, he would have fast-paced kind of like projectiles, and they would do like high penetration but also critical damage as well, I feel like. And you can probably include things like smoke screens or flashbangs that would kind of like stun the enemy. Like maybe with like the flashbang, it would stun the enemy so he can like easily shoot off his projectiles, because I don't think he would be like protected while he's doing that. So maybe you can kind of just run up and like take like the damage while he's shooting his gun and stuff, but like you're not going to get stopped by the bullets, so you can kind of get in and just kind of hit him and stuff. So it's kind of like you take a lot of damage, but you also get in and do like some combos and stuff. So I feel like the flashbang would be good to kind of like cover that. So like if the enemy's approaching, you can throw the flashbang out, they get stunned, and then you can back away and then start firing your weapon and stuff. So I think that'd be pretty good to cover his options, but also maybe the smoke screen, because if you throw it, maybe they get like, you know, smoke screened, and you can like bounce backwards and then start, you know, firing your weapon off and stuff. I think that'd be pretty good. Overall, I think Snipe is a cool character. He's definitely a really cool teacher. Not a lot of people talk about the character, and I think it'd be pretty cool to see him get added to the game, especially with like the way his quirk is designed. I think it'd be pretty perfect for PvP, and you know, it'd be a good, fast, damaging kind of like technical character, one that shoots really fast projectiles, but like it's pretty easy to like get in and do damage against him, unless they give him options like giving him like a flashbang or like a smoke screen ability, because we've seen him use those types of abilities and stuff in the series, and I think it'd be pretty cool to like get him added into the game that's not just like an active card. I feel like maybe he will be an S tier character if they do release him. I can't see any teachers becoming like a battle pass character. Maybe Snipe, I don't really know, because again, Snipe is not one of the characters that like a lot of people talk about, so maybe he might be like a battle pass character, but like I can't see him being like an A rank character. I feel like he'd be like an S rank character because of like what he can do. So it's kind of up in the air. Maybe he might be a battle pass character, maybe he could be like an S tier like event summon character. I don't really know, but like it'd be pretty cool to see Snipe get added into the game. And moving into the last category, the villain category, I have Moonfish. Now, this group was pretty hard because it was kind of like a tie between Moonfish and Muscular, but the reason why I chose Moonfish over Muscular is because I feel like Muscular would just play a similar role to like All Might, and we already have All Might in the game, so I feel like choosing Moonfish would be more unique compared to like someone like Muscular, because I feel like Muscular would be like the same thing as All Might. Maybe he might do more damage, but he doesn't have like armor. I think that would be pretty cool for Muscular, but like I think Moonfish would definitely be a more unique villain to add into the game. I can see Moonfish as either a technical character or maybe a speed character. I'm assuming maybe a technical character, and I could totally see him having like some high piercing damaging like attacks with his teeth and stuff. Maybe he can like kind of like grab a huge group of like enemies together and pull them in, which would make him really good for PvE. And I can totally see him having like some good damaging attacks, some good AoE attacks, like maybe he spins and kind of like rotates while his teeth are out, which would be pretty cool. And maybe he might have like a life regeneration ability, kind of like how Endeavor does. And I know in the series, Moonfish doesn't like regenerate health when he like, you know, stabs the opponent with his teeth, but like it's a gacha game. They're not always going to be like canon accurate and stuff. And Endeavor heals when he throws his fire trident, so maybe Moonfish could have like something like that. I can totally see it. But I think Moonfish is a really cool villain. Not a lot of people talk about this character either, so I feel like he could maybe be like a battle pass character, but like I just can't see this character again being like an A rank character. I totally can see him being like an S rank character, which is why I think he might get his own like event banner if he does get added into the game, which would be pretty cool. I think Moonfish would be a really cool addition because it's not really a character you would think of, but like I definitely think he has like a lot of moveset potential, and he'd be a really good character for PvE, I believe. But that is the top 5 support cards I would like to see become a character in My Hero Academia The Strongest Hero. Again, this was a lot of fun because of the limitations I set for myself, because if I didn't set those limitations, I could be here for hours talking about like a ton of characters I would like to see get added into this game. And I think it was a lot of fun getting to like choose characters I normally really wouldn't think about. But like when you think about certain characters like Snipe and Moonfish, you can totally see like a really cool moveset for the game that could work for PvP and PvE. So I think that was a lot of fun. But let me know down in the comments below, who are the characters you would like to see get added into My Hero Academia The Strongest Hero? You can either choose the same way I did, or just choose characters from just anywhere, you know, like anywhere from the series. Just let me know down in the comments below, who would you like to see get added into this game? I definitely think the pool is a lot wider, so you can just choose like anyone, honestly. But yeah, let me know down in the comments below. I'd love to hear your guys' list, and if you guys did enjoy, please like and subscribe. That'd be amazing, and I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I'll see you guys next time. Later.